Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Well, surprise, surprise, surprise. I'm just as surprised as you are that I'm looking at you right now. I was talking to some of you in the chat literally a couple of minutes ago. This was not the original game plan. Joe is good. Joe is fine. I want everyone to know that right off the top. Joe is on the East Coast in a meeting that he simply cannot get out of. And I've only known Joe for 3 months. My man stays busy. Like, he just stays busy. I know he loves doing this. Like, I know you guys hear him, you know, the hot mic last week and stuff. I know you guys hear him, but he really loves doing this. So it has to be extremely important if he can't get out to connect with you guys today. So I'm in the seat today. Hi, everyone. It's Patrick. I'm back. I don't want to waste any more time. We have a awesome guest that's been very patiently waiting online for us, and I want to bring him in. His name is Tevi Troy. He's a presidential historian, author, powerhouse guest, and we're going to get into it today. We're going to discuss about big corporation and government, see what's up, get his take on it, get his perspective of what's going on in government. Is government controlled by corporations? Is government controlled by special interests? I want to hear his perspective. He actually worked in the Bush White House. He was the deputy director of HHS from 2007 to 2009, chief operating officer on regulatory policy chief, bioterrorism lead. He was a policy director for Senator John Ashcroft. He is a current senior fellow at Ronald Reagan Institute and Bipartisan Policy Center. So yeah, this is going to be great. Tevi, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm excited. I know Joe's not around, but you're going to be great, Pat. I know it's only been 3 months, but you're on top of things. I'm very impressed with everything you've done so far. I'm no longer with Bipartisan Policy Center. I'm just with Ronald Reagan Institute, and I'm excited to be here.
Sorry about that.
That's fine.
I got to take that out of my notes. I do not like getting things wrong. And then Joe let me know about it 100%. So yeah, thank you.
So it's totally fine, because when I wrote the book we want to talk about, The Power and the Money, at the time I had that affiliation, and so that's in the book jacket. But since then I've left. I'm with Ronald Reagan Institute, but I'm still happy to talk about The Power and the Money.
Let's talk about it. Your perspective. You were in there, right? You were in there with Bush, I believe.
Yeah, I saw CEOs coming into the White House all the time. I saw Bill Gates sitting on the couch in the West Lobby waiting to see President Bush like any other schlepper, I guess. I had meetings with the president and pharmaceutical executives, meetings with the president and big food executives. And these people are constantly in the White House. They have a lot of interests before the government. They sometimes contribute things that are very helpful to the U.S. economy. But make no mistake, it doesn't matter who the president is. CEOs know that they need to be in the White House having conversation with the president in order to protect the interests of their corporation.
Money rules, right? So
money and power.
Money and power. So from your perspective being there, how much interest do those top people have for regular Joe Schmoes like us? For me, for my kid, like, how much do they really care about what they're pushing? And I know it's going to be different industries. You got the pharmaceutical industry, right? You got the military industry. You got the food industry. You got the tech industry.
So you're talking about the CEOs, not the government officials.
Correct.
So the CEOs, they care about shareholder. Right. They care about shareholder value. They care about making the most money for their shareholders, which, I'm okay with. I ascribe to what Milton Friedman says. That's what corporations should be about. So we shouldn't be fooled and thinking that these are big altruists who are trying to help the country. That said, they benefit, meaning their companies benefit, when they provide the most good at the best value. So if they make iPhones cheaper and better, then their company will do well, but the American consumer will also benefit from the product if they make the food at whatever company better and cheaper. And we do have access to all kinds of great foods in this country. And it's stark contrast to, let's say, the Soviet Union, where you didn't have a lot of food options. So we get that from the private sector. And so their interest is in their corporations and shareholder value. But they increase shareholder value by getting the best value product at the cheapest price they can get away with to the American consumer.
Yeah, I completely understand that. So then where is the role of government? Oversight, partnerships, turning a blind eye? What's their role in all this?
Right. That's a great question. And my book goes back 150 years to the beginning of the interaction with government and corporations. Because you go back when John D. Rockefeller creates Standard Oil, and within 10 years, he has 90% of refining capacity in the US. So, I mean, he dominates the field.
Right.
And the government knows that he's colluding with the railroads and that he's forcing companies out of business because he can undercut them on prices. And when they go out of business, then he can increase the price. So the government knows what he's doing, but the government can't do a thing about it. Why? Because there are no laws that give the government the ability to do anything about it. It's really not until the Sherman Antitrust Act passes that suddenly you have something that the government can work with. But even then, presidents don't pursue actions under the Sherman Antitrust Act, which passes in 1890, until the administration of Teddy Roosevelt, who's a progressive and a reformer, and he starts using government to go after corporations, including Standard Oil, in his presidency, which is the first decade of the 20th century. So at that point, you start to see government has more of a role in oversight, in regulating, and corporations recognize that they can't just ignore government, which is what Rockefeller did for the first 30 years of his time in business, that they need to figure out what the government's doing and ingratiate themselves with presidents and get to know presidents. And that's why my book, The Power of the Money, which you kindly show up on the screen there, that's why that book talks about this 150-year history, this dance between corporate titans and commanders-in-chief.
Yeah, and it's all, man, you see, let's just go through the last 8 years, 6 years.
Sure. Yeah.
You had a sitting president, Trump, being banned on social media platforms. Those people then promote a different type of, I'd say, agenda online, we kind of say. President Trump's back in office. Those guys are back in the White House with him.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fair to say.
I understand the president. Actually, I don't understand. Like, why does he need to play ball with those guys?
Okay, so first of all, it's fair to say that those guys, meaning the top tech CEOs, they were all in for Biden in 2020. They were all against Trump in Trump's first term.
Right.
Biden was really horrific for them. I mean, he said, I don't like Mark Zuckerberg, so Facebook, which was a company that helped get Obama elected in 08 and 12 and was very much to the left. They got burned by Biden. And Elon Musk has multiple businesses that the Biden administration was going after on regulatory grounds. And they didn't even invite Musk to the electric car summit at the White House. So a lot of these tech CEOs who not only are Democrats, but were very supportive of Democrats, said, well, wait a minute, this Biden administration is not working for us. And that's why a lot of them started to ingratiate themselves with Trump, including the big bromance that we saw with Trump and Musk for a long time. And then they had a falling out. Now it sounds like they're back together a little bit. But these CEOs recognized that they needed a change from Biden because Biden was not at all good for them. Now, from Trump's perspective, these CEOs are very powerful and they can bring in American jobs and they can provide resources to his campaigns and they can help him rebuild the East Wing or fund his inauguration. So there's all kinds of reasons why a president wants to be in good with the CEOs. And Biden didn't really recognize that. He just thought he can kind of anger them and do whatever he wanted. And I think he got burned because he just went so far to the left that he alienated these corporate CEOs who would be inclined to be with him because their workforces are generally pretty left-wing.
Yeah, and you brought up Trump in the tech industry kind of coming back, and bringing American jobs, right? I heard that. But Trump kind of stepped in it last week on the Ingram, right, with that interview when they were talking about the visas. And Trump is like, no, we don't have the American clientele here to do those jobs. So we have a pro-American, America first, MAGA this, MAGA that, America's great, the Renaissance, right? We're booming again, but yet we don't have the talent to get cracking. We need to still have foreign visas coming in for employment. That was not something he campaigned on. So
well, he actually has said in the past that he wants to staple American diplomas with green cards to foreigners who are here. So he recognized that we need some foreign talent. The issue, I think, with immigration is that Biden just opened up the gates and said anybody can come in for any reason. We do sometimes need high-tech workers, and I'm fine with the government having a controlled program where they say we're going to let in these people with these skills in relatively limited or understood numbers. But what happened in the Biden administration, we just had so many immigrants coming in. We didn't know who they were. We didn't know if they were dangerous. And I think that really set things on a very, very bad pathway. And so some people said, okay, well, we want no immigration. You can't have no immigration. You have to have some immigration, if only to continue to pay for Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, because we're not producing enough babies in this country. So we need it. It helps with productivity. It helps with keeping population numbers up. It helps with the tax base. But that doesn't mean you open the floodgates to every person who wants to come in, whatever the reason, even if they're Chinese spies or Iranian terrorists. So I think that's what he was getting at in that interview. But I do realize that he said a couple of things in that interview that may have irked some folks.
Right. And this conversation I'm having with you now, automatically my brain goes to, oh, those guys sitting at the table with him. Musk, maybe, Zuckerberg, Gates, are they pushing this type of, hey, President Trump, we kind of need this? And in turn, that then hurts the potential salary for Americans applying for those same jobs, right? So there is that beneficial effect to those big tech companies to hire foreign workers to those tech positions. Like, I believe we have enough people in this country that we could get a heavy dent into the tech world. I really do, especially if we made it a priority within the country, not as like bringing in foreign workers to take those jobs, but actually creating educational pathways for those jobs to be filled through American colleges into Silicon Valley.
Yeah, and I agree with you on educational pathways are really important. But the problem is our top universities have become these woke places that don't necessarily teach the skills that these students need. So the universities are falling down on the job of teaching what American students need. And so sometimes we might need to get that talent from abroad, especially if there's just different ways of teaching. So for example, let's look at Taiwan, which is the best country at producing semiconductors. And in fact, it was the Americans fell down on the job. There was a Taiwanese scientist who worked for an American company, and he wanted to produce these semiconductors in the U.S., and nobody was interested. So he went to Taiwan, and he created this massive industry. So sometimes there are things that foreign people know, foreign entrepreneurs know, that they can bring to the U.S. Also, if you look at the top companies that are starting up in Silicon Valley, a lot of them are created by immigrants. So I'm not against some immigrant workers. The question is, can you have a program that lets in some of them, that has a pathway so that they are actually well-trained, that does make allowances for wages so that they're not just undercutting American employees. And again, make sure that we are vetting people so we're not bringing in Hamas supporters and Iranian terrorist sympathizers and Chinese communist spies. So I think there's a way to integrate it all. But the Biden plan was ridiculous, which was no immigration policy. And Trump's trying to find an integrated immigration policy that takes into account all these challenges.
No, and I appreciate that perspective. And believe, I hope you're not taking what I'm saying as me attacking you as being anti. Nope. I'm not. I'm
good conversation.
Not,
I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, because that Biden thing, that stuff was out of control. What was that? About 20 million, we believe, came over in 4 years, undocumented, and now
we don't know. I mean, I've heard numbers as high as 20 million. We have no idea, because if you don't document, you have no idea. And that's why it was so damaging to the country, to the rule of law, and to the perspective of people who do recognize that we need some immigrants in this country, and legal immigrants have done a lot of good for this country. And Biden, by just opening the door, made a lot of good people who want to have some reasonable immigration plan say, oh, just forget it. Let's close the door and not let anybody in.
Yeah. it really forced it that way. I could agree with that statement because it came hard and came quick, and then when you voice concerns about it, people stomped you out. And
Yeah, they call you racist and a fascist
Yeah.
and all these horrible names. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually a former teacher. I was in education for 17 years, and I lost my job because of equity.
Oh,
Yep,
sorry to hear.
I'm actually pursuing a federal lawsuit against my former school district, Cherry Creek School District, out here in Colorado.
Wow.
America First Legal is my legal team.
Oh, they're good folks over there.
Oh yes, they are. I got Ian Pryor's on my squad. That guy is great. Man, a few words, but knows his stuff. And yeah.
Well, let me tell you, both my parents have passed, but both of them were teachers in the New York City school system. And this was a time when my dad would show up to work wearing a tie.
Hold
my
on,
mom
hold on, hold
always
on.
dressed appropriately.
What part of New York City? I'm from New York, so what part of New
I'm
York
from
City?
Queens.
What? Me too. What part? I grew up in Rosedale.
Hollisville. Okay, not far. Yeah,
Get outta
my
here.
dad taught at Richmond Hill High, and Cindy Lauper was one of his students.
Wow.
And he actually
Wow.
failed her because, girls just want to have fun. She just wanted to have fun. She didn't show up to class.
Well, actually, you could actually fail kids back then. Today, you can't fail kids in the school system. That's crazy.
Yeah, and my dad actually retired when a student slugged him in the face, and the school did nothing about it. And he's like, "That's it. And, if a kid can just slug me in the face and the school won't do anything about it, then I just don't feel safe here."
Yeah, no, and let me guess, 90s to early 2000s, maybe a little later than that.
Late 90s, yeah.
Yep, yeah. I wish I could say things have gotten better in there. It didn't. I was a dean.
No, they gotten worse.
Oh, it's not even close. Yeah, it's not even close. Getting slugged in the face is nothing. Teachers today get pistol whipped. They get jumped in schools. It's the truth. It is really sad what's gone on. And that also leads to, hey, we don't have an educated workforce because of what's actually happened in our education system, the destruction of the education system over the past 20 years. And I'll be honest, I haven't noticed if the Department of Ed's been opened or closed because I personally believe it makes zero difference of what's going on. Because it's all
it makes a difference. It increases paperwork requirements for schools, so they hire more administrators rather than teachers. So it makes a difference, but it's a bad difference.
There you go. Got it. Okay, you got that lens. I'm basically saying the schools are still open, they're still operating, kids are still going in, right? But it's the local control needs to actually be locally controlled and locally funded, by the way. I've seen some recent articles about teachers unions taking $4 million trips and only like $2,000 worth of expenses are related to helping it's just a cesspool of rot of what's going on.
Oh yeah, I mean, let's talk about the teachers union for a second. My friend Philip Howard wrote this book called Unaccountable about public sector unions, the teachers being the worst of them, although not the only one. And he says that public sector unions constitutionally should not exist. In fact, Franklin Roosevelt was against it because there's an inherent conflict of interest when you have these teachers unions and they elect the people who negotiate their salaries. And then, especially in places like Chicago, New York, LA, they have these ridiculous woke curricula that they impose on the students. So the students aren't learning reading, writing, arithmetic, as they used to say, but they're learning all this PC colonialist, anti-colonialist nonsense, which is why you see all these students joining pro-Hamas protests. And so we have kids who are badly educated in this country. And again, it leads to one of the reasons why we sometimes have shortage of tech workers, but also while we have a lot of people in this country who are taught by the teachers unions, those teachers, to hate America. My parents were so patriotic. They did the Pledge of Allegiance. They told students how great America was, how many opportunities there were in America. And that's not what these teachers, the teachers union teachers, are teaching today. There's a lot of great patriotic teachers, and I applaud every one of them. But these teachers union teachers, again, in Chicago and New York, are a real problem.
Yes, they're the loud ones. They run the roost. Like out here in Colorado, I was a dean at Hinckley High School in Aurora, and then Campus Middle School in Greenwood Village. Two completely different areas in Colorado, two different socioeconomic pathways, two different sets of debt, right? Completely different. But there was a common thread between both of them. And it was the teachers unions. They always got what they wanted. They always got their school board members elected. They always were organized. And equity got pushed into the school systems extremely hard. So when I first started working out here in Colorado, I took interest. I was a Bernie Sanders supporter when I was out here 10 years ago. Okay, so my political arc has been way insane. Please don't.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Right? Like it's been something else. So when I was out here, I was getting active into the Colorado Teacher Education Association, CEA. And when we were there, they do it, and they do it a smart way. They build alliances with all these other different groups for their causes. And that's how these groups stay interconnected socially. So like if you're in the teachers union, oh, this Saturday we're getting together and we're supporting LGBTQ at their protest here. Boom, right? So they start partnering up there, building their network. And now at that one, oh guys, we're joining the pro-Palestinian march over here in December. And they all just kind of latch on to different types of victims in society to collect their collective group that elevates them. And then once you're in the school system, like, for example, you cannot make a student say the Pledge of Allegiance. It's recommended. If a kid just wants to keep on walking and say, screw you, have a nice day, they can do that. Like, that just tears away at the core fabric of this country, of these kids not understanding how important, and just taking that 30 seconds to recite the pledge of the love of this country, because once this country is gone, which I'm fearful we're on the verge of losing it, it's never coming back. Like, us having a free conversation like this may be gone in 5 to 10 years. Let's be honest. It's a scary thought.
Remember what Benjamin Franklin said after they ratified the Constitution? What do we have? A republic if you can keep it.
Yep.
And it's hard to keep it. We've got to work at it. We've got to work to maintain those protections we have, the First Amendment right, the Second Amendment right, and the fact where we can have conversations like this without the government shutting us down, or the government using corporate censors to shut down these kinds of conversations. So I, too, worry about the long-term future of the country. But I also tend to believe that short-term, I'm pessimistic, but long-term, I'm optimistic. I mean, I just look at where this country has come in 50 years. There are so many things that improved over time, so many technologies, including our ability to talk to each other right now. And so I think that long-term, smart Americans can work this out, but we've got to get past the tyranny of the teachers' unions and the wokesters and the DEI folks that will cost you your job, unfortunately.
See, and that's the thing. That's the thing with DEI, right? EO, it's off the books, right? How come, going back to it, right? Like, why isn't Trump pulling these federal funds now? Why, like, the left always plays to win. They don't care. They play to win the game. I feel like we play to appease. We play just to get an inch, then just to give that inch back by 2 inches in 3 years. Why isn't Trump going after those DEI universities that are still preaching it, the DEI school districts that are openly still having segregation clubs in schools? They're called affinity groups, but they actually break kids up into race in schools to have racial conversations. Like, why don't we just?
I totally agree with you. I hate affinity groups. I hate them in corporations. I hate them in schools. I hate them in universities, because they really do segregate. I mean, the whole idea is we're supposed to integrate. We're supposed to be one nation. And you go to college to meet people who are unlike you and to learn that there's a common humanity and a common Americanness to us. And having these affinity groups and these separate dormitories and separate fraternities, it really is a problem for this whole idea of integration into the greater American whole. But look, I think Trump has actually pushed pretty far on the schools and challenging their funding. I mean, the people at Harvard and Penn and Columbia are kind of quaking in their boots. So I think he's pushed it further than other Republicans have on this particular issue.
I'll give you that. I'm going to go one step further for you, though. I was in the ground floor in the K-12 educations. Those kids are already primed before they get to college because of K-12. Once they get to college, all it is the light. You light the fuse. They're primed already. They got their 4 years in high school of equity training, social justice movement, right? They're primed. And then they get out.
Intersectionality, anti-colonialism. Yeah, they show up at these colleges being pro-Hamas. It's not like the colleges make them pro-Hamas.
Correct.
The colleges give them a venue for expressing their pro-Hamas views.
Correct. And that gets them out of their parents' homes, right? They're independent, so they're allowed to communicate and be around their friends that think more like them, right? So it's a nasty concoction that's being built, but it's primed before then. I can
Yep.
argue 7th through 12th grade is where it's really going on. Like, I know they have the literature in the K through 6 schools, but I'm telling you, the middle schools through the high schools is really where it's happening, because that's when the kids are becoming adolescents. They're becoming a little more vocal. They also have a lot more mental health issues. And you're shaking all that together with DEI. These kids are moving into college, and they get around more like-minded people like that, and the colleges just light the fuse, and poof. Like, UC Berkeley last week looked like a war zone when TPUSA went there.
Right, I saw that. And Charlie Kirk, all he wants to do is have people have civil conversations. I mean, A, he got killed for it, but B, they have an event to honor him. And again, you're right, it looks like a war zone. Well, what do you think's going on with the mental health stuff, though? I mean, I heard this one person who was interviewed who was from the Palo Alto School District. And they were saying that trans basically didn't exist there in 2016. It was occasionally, maybe a minute percentage. And that by 2020, there were all these white girls who were trans because they're told, if you're a white girl, you're the worst thing in the world. But if you're trans, you're great. And so they feel they're only welcome in the world if they take on one of these characteristics of intersectionality. They can't become black, they can't become immigrants, they can't become disabled, but they can say, I'm trans, and suddenly they're welcomed into the coalition of the progressives.
Right. It's kind of like the hierarchy of victimhoods, right? So
Yes.
like white males, you're basic as can be. White females, you're second basic as can be. But if you're XYZ, right, you get to get bumped up a little bit here, bumped up a little bit here. And I'll be honest, when I was doing my work in the high schools and in the middle schools, 1 turns into 3, turns into 7, turns into 10. It's a social contagion amongst young females.
Yeah.
Because they're looking for some type of social acceptance. Even though they're young, they're smart, they're good looking, they have the world by the gonads at 13, 14, 15 years old, but our younger kids feel like they're worthless. And that's because of what's been instilled and beat into them by society. Society at that age outweighs what your parents tell you. You know, so
and this is Palo Alto. I mean, rich, wealthy, well-educated. I mean, intact families, and
it's this right
I
here.
agree.
It's right here, because once they get your algorithm and they're just feeding you and feeding you and feeding you and feeding you, and if you have possibly some type of self-doubt, it's predatory to these kids. And it gets into their minds. And now, how can I get liked? How can I get friends, right? And they start questioning. And I've seen it happen where one girl starts questioning. She starts out, maybe I'm gay, maybe I'm trans, right? And then after a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks, month, one of her other friends starts questioning, right? And it spreads in pockets. And it's all because of the social media. Because they
get welcomed in, and everybody tells them how great they are, and they pat them on the back. And then if you say, maybe I was wrong, maybe I'm not trans, then suddenly they cut you off.
Yep, you get held up. How brave you are. This has to be so hard for you, right? They're getting that affirmation and getting lifted up on that pedestal, when all they really needed was maybe a little self-motivation, maybe a little self-confidence boost. But you have kids that are just going completely off the wagon because society is pushing them that way. And it's sad to watch.
And you think the mental health is really fueled by the phone? Is there something else going on, or it's all phones?
I believe it's a lot to do with the phone and social media, with lack of parent involvement. Parents today I'm a parent. I got a 3-year-old at home. But my wife and me live together, right? Like, that is a big part, I believe, of the social mental health issues of our young children, is that the parents are not being parents together. A lot of parents play kids off each other with the parents I've seen. And, what's the marriage rate fail? What, 1 out of 2, 50% make it?
Yeah, right. Especially in divorced families, it's terrible. Or never married families.
And then those parents, right, they're not raising their kid. They're surviving, right? Especially if you're divorced or a single mom, single dad, you're surviving. I'm shoving my kid off to school 8-9 hours a day so that I could work, make a living. That kid is getting programmed at school. Kid comes home, I feed him, go to bed, repeat, recycle. So the parents are losing control also of the involvement of the kid, the development of the kid, because they're not having the time to talk or want to build relationships with their kids. I'm not saying every parent doesn't want to have a relationship with their kids, but there are some parents that don't. I've seen it, and it's an awful thing. It's a reality. It's sad. It really is. And
Are
then
you going to keep your kid off social media until they're, I don't know, 17, 18? Because that's
I
what
hope
Jonathan Haidt recommends.
that is what my wife and me are shooting for. He's 3 now. We got a long way to go, but we already cutting screen time for him. Like, he has no tablet, he has none of that stuff. The screen time I'm referring to is he gets maybe 1 or 2 episodes of TV during the day. He'll get like a Paw Patrol, maybe a Mr. Rogers, because we have that on DVR, right? But he is not programmed in, because we've seen it in him. His behavior changes. Like, if he is on TV for like half hour, 40 minutes, and we need him to do something, his behavior sucks. I'll be honest with you, sucks.
Yeah.
But like, if we're just rolling through our normal day and we don't go to the tube whatsoever, he's fine. He's fine. I believe it's a serious issue with kids. Instead of putting your kids in front of the TV, you got to talk to your kids. You got to give your kids puzzles at a young age. You got to let their minds work and develop, because if you don't now when they're young, as they get older, that this mental development of them, combined with what's preaching in the schools, it's just a recipe for worse and worse stuff.
You know what else is good, if you relate to that, is you have a Sabbath 1 day a week where there's no phone whatsoever, or dinner. I've read about these things, these electronic boxes where you can put your phones in them and you can lock it and it can't be opened for an hour and a half, whatever you set it for. And so people sit down at dinner and actually look each other in the face, and they're not staring at their phones on the side.
Yeah, it's great. I saw earlier this year, start of school year, there was a school, I think in maybe Chicago, I forgot where, but they tried implementing those black bags at schools to make the kids turn their phones in to go in. The kids just didn't go to school. They hung out outside all day, because that's how attached they are to their phones. So like, it's ridiculous.
I think schools within a decade will ban phones.
It needs to be sooner than that. It needs to be sooner than that. Like, these kids are crazy. They have, sorry readers, but they're sending porn pictures to each other, 12, 13, 14 years old. They sext each other. Nothing good comes out of a 12, 13, 14-year-old's hand that has an iPhone. Yeah. Nothing. No, I need to be in touch with my kid. Get a flip phone, get a different way, get away where they can't send pictures, right? Like, and I know companies are coming back with the old school stuff because there's a need for that.
Right, but then the kids tell you, and I've got older kids than you, the kids tell you, well, I get my homework assignments on my phone. I can't do my homework unless I get my phone. That's, that's the school is being part of it. And I think that's a problem too.
It is. A lot of the stuff is technology based in the school systems now, so you do need access to a phone and or computer. And then that's where being a parent is like, do I need to watch over my kid every 5 seconds of the day because he's doing his homework and it's located on the internet, right? It's hard, dude. I completely understand and I get it. There's just no easy answers, and technology's just getting more and more ever so crazy. Where's AI going to take us in the next 2 to 5 years?
Yeah, it's really worse. And that takes us back to the tech CEOs. I mean, they want, 65 million gigawatts of power, and they want us to build all this infrastructure for them. We may not even like what AI has to offer in 5, 10 years. So do we really need to do everything that they're asking for in order to make us what they call competitive with AI?
So is that how they leverage it all the time? Do they basically play the fear card with the higher ups, with the presidents, members of Congress? Like, hey guys, if you don't do this,
we don't do it, the Chinese are going to beat us. That's what we hear all the time.
And how do you as a politician then, how can you counter that argument, or how do you stand up to that? How do you do it?
Well, I'm for us having some people working on AI, but that doesn't mean you need to have kids on phones at age 3. So,
right.
You're just like we need oil. Doesn't mean everybody's got to be mining oil, and not everybody's got to be drilling for oil. There are some people who do it, but not everybody does. And you got to find ways to compartmentalize. I actually talked about that in my book, The Power of the Money, how sometimes you'll have a CEO who has a contentious relationship with the president on one issue, like Bill Gates and the Microsoft trials of the 1990s. But at the same time, he also had a friendly relationship with Bill Clinton, whose administration was prosecuting Gates, and they worked together on a high-tech summit, and they played golf together. So there are ways to compartmentalize. Not everything's black and white. You got to find a way to govern from the grays, as they say.
Fair enough. So from your perspective, from the presidents you've seen, can you name one president that you think has done it better than others? Holding,
What's the it, right? That's the real question.
Keeping
Right.
the interest of the American people at least on their radar when dealing with these big tech CEOs. Is there a president that kind of stood up to them more than others because they felt that it would be too much to put onto the American people or ask the American people to give too much for?
Right. Well, I mean, look, if you say big tech, it's a relatively short window. But I mean, I kind of liked how Ronald Reagan did things. He was friendly with CEOs and he would schmooze with them and get ideas from them sometimes, but he also would stand up to them. So, for example, Lee Iacocca, who is the Chrysler chairman, comes to Reagan and he tells him he wants a gas tax. And Reagan says no. And Iacocca is pressing him and pressing him. And Reagan explains that if there's a gas tax, people are going to blame me for it. And I'm not going to do it. And he said, Lee, that's why I'm on this side of the desk and you're on that side. So I mean, Reagan was willing to stand up to CEOs as appropriate. And I think that's something that can apply whether it's to a big tech CEO or just a industrial CEO like Lee Iacocca.
And Trump with tariffs, is that him standing up or is that just more political theater, do you think? More of a political theater play?
Look, Trump had a first term where he was constantly stymied by Congress. They wouldn't pass the Obamacare repeal or the courts. And I think in his second term, he said, okay, what can I do unilaterally to advance my agenda? And so he focuses on things that he can do himself, including pardons, executive orders, regulations, and tariffs, assuming the Supreme Court upholds it. Tariffs are part of that approach. And so I think that's why he likes to play with the dials of tariffs in order to advance his foreign policy goals.
Fair. How do you feel the Supreme Court's going to take this? Because the arguments are done, I believe, so we're just waiting for a ruling.
It's a tough one. I mean, usually you have a sense from the questions of what the Supreme Court's going to do. It sounded to me initially when I heard about the case that the Supreme Court would not allow the tariffs to be done in this way by the executive and not by the legislature. But now, after I heard the questions, I'm not quite so sure. So it's a consequential decision, and it's really going to be on the knife's edge, I think.
Fair. And it always seems anything that Trump ever tries to do has to go through the Supreme Court, like anything. It's pretty...
Yeah, these liberals always claim it's a legitimacy crisis because they don't like what the Supreme Court does. It's not a legitimacy crisis when the Supreme Court rules a way you don't like. It's a legitimacy crisis if the Supreme Court says, you can't do X, and then the president does X. So far, I think the system is holding, and we should be proud of that.
Yeah. I will say, based on my experience, the lower courts are a complete dumpster fire, though, and that's a serious concern. just my perspective. The lower courts just seem to be a complete dumpster fire. Where I just don't know how you could have judges see the same case, see the same facts, and view everything completely different. Like things that
look at it through a political lens. I mean, there, some circuits like the Ninth Circuit is known as being particularly bad, but other circuits, like the Fourth Circuit over time has been better. But it's not. I wouldn't say it's a complete dumpster fire. I just think it's erratic. I mean, some follow the Constitution and the rule of law, and some just say, "Well, I'm going to put politics above everything."
So how can you have a rule of law that operates that way?
It's a problem. I mean, that's why you need to elect good presidents who can put forward good judges, and that's one of the most important things you should be looking at when you're voting for president.
Fair. And the only reason I bring this up is because I'm in the process of appealing my lower court's ruling on me, because the lower court actually ruled that the district admitted in legal paperwork that they fired me in the name of equity. They actually wrote that in legal paperwork. Really? Yes.
Why would they? I mean, that's crazy that they admitted it. That's a pretty damaging admission.
It is, but the federal judge, Magistrate Judge Valhalik out here in Colorado said, yeah, you can. Ding, you can fire him. And then we appealed it to his direct supervisor, Federal Judge Rodriguez. She said, yeah, that's okay. And also, by a matter of fact, he needed to admit the systemic racism in this country as well. She actually wrote that into her opinion on my case. Yeah, it is crazy.
It's good you got someone who's going to keep pursuing the case with the America First Legal Foundation.
Yep. Libs of TikTok picked it up. Gene Hamilton retweeted about it. Gene Hamilton's the founder of AFL. And then actually the Hamid Dillon actually tweeted on top of it, this is insane. So there might be other things coming.
Okay, yeah, there's going to be some pushback.
There needs to
That's
be.
great.
But it was actually written in the court paperwork. And I still was not allowed to have discovery or oral arguments of any nature. I have not been able to get into a courtroom for a judge to actually hear everything that I have.
Yeah, but it sounds like it's coming.
And, hopefully. They also lied to me when they fired me. They didn't say, hey, you're getting fired because of what you said. They actually said, hey, you're getting fired because we had budgetary problems. And then their budget report came out and there was no budgetary issues. They actually had an increase in their budget, an increase in their FTE. So they got caught lying there as well. And the federal courts still say I don't have a right to sue because the school district has a right for me to march by their beat of a drum of what they want me to say when they ask me.
Oh, so what did you say that was the problem?
I'm an American and I love this country, because they asked me, what do I identify as?
I'm an American and I love this country. I hope nobody fires me over that.
Yep, but that's legitimately what got me fired. And they actually admitted to that in the court paperwork.
I'm an American. You know, they should make T-shirts. I'm an American and I love this country. That would be awesome. You should patent that. You should. You got a platform, you could sell it.
Yeah.
You wear it under your champion sweatshirt.
There you go. I would address. I did not know I was going to be in front today, so I do apologize.
It's great. No apology necessary. This is an awesome interview.
Thank you. I thought so too. I'm glad. I'm glad you agreed.
Thank you. But yeah, I want to see those T-shirts for sale soon.
I like that idea. Damon, get down the timestamp on that so I can listen to this again. I'm going to play with an idea for later in life. But Tevi, thank you so much, man. Great interview. And I can't believe Hollis, Queens, New York. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Go
Good
Queens.
for you, dude. Yeah. Most diverse place in the world, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Ethnic restaurants, all kinds of different places. A lot of sports stadiums. There's lots to offer in Queens.
Yes,
the new
there
Brooklyn,
is.
they say.
Yep.
All right.
That's you on Twitter. That's you on X, correct? Yep.
That's
Everyone,
me.
give Tevi a follow. That was a great interview. Thank you so much for your time, brother. Thank you so much.
Just last thing, that picture over there on my Twitter profile with the kids reading is from an article where I made my kids read 100 books a year, and I wrote an article about all the kid reading. So I was getting them away from their phones. They're not holding tablets; they're holding books there.
Reading is so important. We read to my kid every night. Ever since he was born. He's 3 years old now. We have read to him every night. That's part of our routine. That's our regimen. We read during the day because he likes to read books, because that's what you need to do with our kids.
Keep it up.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Take care. I'm an American and I love this country. New slogan.
There you go. Thank you, Tevi. You take care, brother. Have a good day.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Wow, everyone. Wow. What a great interview. I was not expecting to interview Tevi. I did not know any of this was happening today. But that was just a great interview. I didn't even feel like it was an interview. It was just a free-flowing conversation about what's going on. Just absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed it. Didn't even feel like work. It wasn't work. I actually enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Sorry, excuse me. So, yesterday, we started to touch on Dearborn, Michigan a little bit. About the mayor telling a resident, I'll throw a parade when you leave. You're Islamophobic. Yeah, well, Dearborn had a visitor yesterday. I don't know if anyone caught this or not, if you haven't been on your computer yet or your phone, but I'm pretty sure. But Jake Lang popped up into Dearborn because he's expressing what a lot of Americans are feeling, the frustration about the Islamification of this country. That you legitimately have America, cities being run by Muslims. Straight up, Dearborn, majority city council, Muslim. Mayor, Muslim. New York City, mayor-elect, Muslim. Minneapolis, mayor, Muslim, right? It just Frey one. Sorry, not. But he was speaking Somalian. He was reaching hard for the Muslim Somalia vote, right? Because they're a voting bloc. And the Islamification of America is a real thing, and it's going on. And you can't just ignore it. You can't just let it happen. It's got to be called out. It's got to be addressed. You got to spread the information to your friends, to your family, to the community. And we're at the point now where a lot of Americans are like, oh, well, it's at least not in my backyard. Eventually, it's going to be in your backyard, and it's going to be too freaking late. Like, we have to start calling it out for what it is. because this country is falling apart at its seams. And where are we going? What are we doing? You know, like we do see ICE doing a lot of deportations, but I don't see ICE anywhere near the Somali population. And please do not tell me that they're all here legally. Don't tell me they all registered their visas on time or re-upped their paperwork. All right, I do understand that see, this is another thing that is hidden, but Somalis have protective status. So they're really not eligible for deportation because they come from such a shithole country. You can't send them back to the shithole country they're from. But what's amazing to me is that they're Muslims, right? Muslims, peace, brotherhood, unity, yada, 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 right? All that stuff they throw in our face of what they are. How come no Muslim countries take in those Somalian refugees? How come no Muslim countries take them in? Because it's not part of the plan. Because it's not part of the plan. Part of the plan is relocating Muslims, specifically Somalian Muslims, to Western Africa and into the United States. Okay? There is at least 30 to 40 closer Muslim countries than here America to supplant Somalia in, okay? Been going on since the 90s. They control cities, they control voting blocks, and it's just going to keep growing. So yesterday, Jake Long put out a message telling people what he planned on doing. Let's play cut 3, please.
Guys, we're live in Dearborn, Michigan for the March Against Islamification. We will not let our country fall and become like London. We will stand strong against these Islamic invaders. These jihadis will have to go. Christians in America, you need to stand up before your daughters are raped in the streets like the animals that they think we are. They call us kafirs. They hate us, and they want to destroy white people and Christian America. We will not allow it to happen. Dearborn, Michigan, 3 p.m. today, Schaefer Road and Michigan Avenue, a peaceful march standing strong against the jihadi Muslims. God bless America.
Get used to hearing stuff like that. Okay, it takes a moment to hear that and get used to it. It needs to get called out. He's not lying. Take a look at what's happening in Europe. Europe is ahead of America, at least 2 to 3 years, on social movements, immigration, all that. Take a look at what's going on in Europe. Ireland, the people in Ireland are pissed. They encircle migrant hotels pretty much on a weekly basis because migrants are assaulting their kids over there. Take a look. Look it up. Look it up in England. England downplays it. Oh, no, it's just a small section of London. No, no, no. It's growing. It is a third world. It's becoming a third world country, London is. Okay? No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Okay? It's part of the plan. It is part of the plan to do away with European, Christian, American identity. The identity that built this country is under attack. The identity of white Europeans is under attack. Okay? That is the truth of it. White Europeans need to go. White European mentality needs to go. Independent thought, hard work ethic need to go. Family need to go. Belief in God need to go. It is an outright war on white European ancestral men. Anyone of white European ancestral descent, you are targets of a downfall. You are the replacements. You are the ones being replaced. Okay? We all need to be woken up to this in the name of multiculturalism. Please tell me what multiculturalism has done for America. For real, tell me what's positive of multiculturalism. What's going on? We're financially in ruins. We're medical insurances through the roof. I'm paying a hell of a lot more money for medical coverage, food, everything else that other people came to this country for, did not have to pay for, and get free of charge. That money comes from somewhere. Those prices increase come from somewhere. They come out of my pocket. Okay? So don't tell me any of that nonsense. And then we're the problems. No, we're not. We want to be left alone. I want to be left alone. I wanted to finish out my teaching career, have my pension, retire, raise my kid, see my kid. I never see my kid anymore because I work so freaking much. No offense, Joe, love the job, but I work a lot here, brother. But like, sorry, I just got on a rant there. Enough is enough. So yeah, Jake got me going. So take a look at what happens when Jake pulls up. This is pretty interesting. Cue cut 4.
United we stand! Divided we fall!
So yeah, if you didn't pick up on that at the beginning, he hopped out of his bus, started walking around with a pack of bacon, smacking the Quran right there in the middle of Dearborn, Michigan. Just letting people know, okay? You know, sometimes you have to act extreme to get your message across. He's not out there assaulting anybody. He may be offensive, but you know what? Americans are being offended all day, every day. And we're told to sit down, shut up, take it, bend over. Oh, give me some more, bend over again. Keep it pushing, empty your wallets, back of the line, kiss my ass, right? This is what they're driving Americans to do because Americans are frustrated. They don't want to see their cities overrun this way. They don't want to see their children assaulted, their children replaced in public schools. That, by the way, you pay for and they don't through tax money. Okay? Yeah, America, melting pot. America, you know, America is a land of immigrants. It is. It is. But this is the point that gets overlooked all the time. What makes America great is the belief in America. That's what made America great. People didn't cross the Atlantic Ocean to get a welfare check, to get put up in a 5-star hotel, to get a free cell phone, some new kicks, some new clothes. They didn't do any of that. They came across the ocean, checked in at Ellis Island, mind you. Okay, there was no just like, oh, pull up to the shore of Manhattan, unload your shit, here you go. No, that didn't happen. There was a check-in process. Name? Are you sick? Maybe. Okay, we're going to quarantine you for a little bit. You just slide over there. Name? I don't know how to spell that. I'm just going to give you a new name. Right? That legitimately happened in Ellis Island for years and years and years and years. There's a museum there. There's a museum there that documented how it was to come to this country. And why did people come here? Because this country was founded on hard work, religion, and God. God, country, family. That's what it was. God, country, family. And if you believed in those things, and if you worked hard, and you believed in the work ethic, that's all what America started out for. That was it. But now we have people that come to this country that actively hate this country, that want to live in this country, that hate this country, take from this country, spit on this country, and then say, F you, you're racist for calling me out on it. Our founding fathers would be spinning in their graves if they saw what we have become, how weak we have become. Okay, give us your huddled masses yearning to be free written on the Statue of Liberty. Yes, when you check in at Ellis Island, when you want to come to this country, when you want to assimilate to this country, Okay, that doesn't mean you leave everything at the door, but you bridge your culture with our culture. You don't bring your culture in and say, yeah, my culture is the shit. American culture, you suck, but I'm still coming to this country. That doesn't make sense to me. That makes zero sense to me. And now you got Jake Lang going out there kicking stuff up in Dearborn, Michigan. So you know when you put a call out like that, Trans Tifa gonna get the heads up. Trans Tifa gonna be, oh, I want to get in on this. So lo and behold, they do. But before we get to the Trans Tifa cut, take a look at cut A5. When after Jake's done beating the Quran with the bacon, he actually organizes the march down the street in Dearborn.
We've taken the streets of Dearborn. We've taken the streets of We've taken the streets of
So yeah, it's starting. It's starting. It's a start. It's a start. So as Jake is doing this, there are reporters and journalists that are along with Jake for the ride. One of them for Jake happened to be Cam Higbee. While he was covering what was going on, he was assaulted by a Trans Tifa member. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Once again, they get involved. They play dirty. They play dirty. But, you know, what was yesterday? Tuesday? So Tuesday afternoon around 3 o'clock, they get the call, spring into action. Wonder what job you can just call out from, just go. That's amazing. Cut 6, please.
Sir, why is he not welcome on a public sidewalk?
Get the camera out of my face. Get that camera out of my face or I will take it from you, okay?
Phone right here.
Is this his phone? Yeah. All right, guys, he just got pepper sprayed for attacking and assaulting someone. No, you're not gonna get your phone. Actually, you get it. Here you go. There we go. Yep.
Come on in.
You guys hang up here.
No! Disgusting fuck pepper spray! No!
I got his phone.
Right there.
All right. You're good. Just stack.
Guys, as you can see here, the jug that was water, we got a bunch of...
So yeah, he's just out there trying to cover, and you just see what he's met with immediately, right to the face, no questions asked, boom, and then I'll give you your camera back after I maced you. You know, just the thuggery, you know, and outside never, like, we don't go out there beating people. We don't go out there to well, I'm sorry, Jake went out there to agitate a little bit. But typically, outside does no agitation. Outside typically takes it. The left plays to win. The right plays to placate, which means we wind up losing most of the time, which we're going to wind up losing eventually here. You know, like, it sucks what's going on in this country, that we have to fight about the Islamification of cities throughout America. Like, what is going on? Whoever thought that would be a thing? Would you have thought 10, 15 years ago that'd be a thing after 2001? Like, oh, would this be a real thing? Islamification of America? Like, look how it swung. And they're actually establishing Sharia courts in some of these cities. So stay tuned for that stuff. Oh, you could stone your wife? Okay, I'm going to dig a hole in my backyard. I'm going to put my wife in the hole. I'm going to throw rocks at her face. Sharia law. Check it out. All right. Now, after Jake Lang smacked the Quran with bacon, led his march down the street, he wasn't done. He went to the city council meeting, and he let the city council of Dearborn let it rip. Cue cut 7.
You just got to keep it down.
In 1900, the world was 30% white. Fast forward 125 years, we are down to 7%. The Islamification of Europe is particularly aimed at the destruction of white people. The Islamification of America is aiming to meet the same goal. Our people, white Christian, European, Western civilization, we built the arts. We built the Colosseum. We have ran the world into the industrial age. And now, this people here, the Muslim community, is looking to drag us back. They're looking to oppress women, oppress homosexuals. They're looking to destroy everything that makes America great. President Trump, send ICE into Dearborn. These people have overstayed their visas. They're H-1B chain migration invaders, and they have come to this country to destroy our way of life. We know exactly your laws in your book about lying to our faces, pretending to be Americans, wearing your suits. But that doesn't happen anywhere else where you guys are in charge. There are 53 Muslim majority countries, and in all of them, it is tyranny, destruction, it is shithole living. We have to call it what it is. You guys don't live like we do. We don't want you in our country. We will come and eat your shawarma in Somalia, okay? We don't need it here in Michigan. We don't need it in any part of America. We have a right to self-determination. Our founding fathers fought and died for our posterity, for white Americans. Amen. And we're being driven out. You come here and you marry 4 or 5 women and you outbreed us. You change the laws. You make all of our country look like the places that you fled from. We don't want you here. Respectfully, get the out of my country. I don't want you here. 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 This is our country. And the people, the veterans, the World War II veterans, that's blood has soaked for our constitutional republic, are taking a look around Europe. They're taking a look around America, and they're saying, what the hell did we fight for? We have been taken over without a single shot fired. You guys are outbreeding insidious parasites on the American way of life. You will never look like us. You will never eat like us. You won't build buildings like us. You are nothing. You can build nothing. Just like President Trump's great American friends have said. You guys are not us, and get the out. America first. America only. God bless America. Jesus is king.
Middle East, buddy. Shut the fuck up.
Jesus is king. Jesus is king. Jesus is king. Jesus is king. Let me grab my Jesus is king. Jesus is king.
Christ is king!
Put your hands on me. There's no reason to put your hands on me. Jesus is king. Christ is king. Christ is king. America first. Get these guys out, man. These guys out.
So yeah, that was at Dearborn, Michigan City Council meeting last night. I have a feeling more and more of these things might be occurring. People are tired. People are tired. People are tired. And if you don't know what's going on in Europe, please take a look. Take a look. It is real. It is happening, it's happening here. You just had an Islamic socialist / communist elected mayor-elect of the, I would argue, the most important city of our country. That's a real problem. That's letting you know the sentiment. That's letting you know what's going on. And they're well organized and funded. And if you're following, you guys got to tune in for our next episode with B. That will be getting aired some point next week. But we are actually, we're uncovering the financial networking of the Islamic takeover of America, believe it or not. We started doing that our first episode about a week ago, be 2 weeks on Saturday with Dominion and Roy Singham. That's just a piece of the puzzle. It is way bigger. It is way deeper. It is way more convoluted. And it's really happening. Like, you cannot put your head in the sand and pretend this is not happening. If you have kids, if you have grandkids, this will impact them in their lives. Okay, I'm thinking most likely Kind of when I'm dying, it'll be a problem. Probably, I don't know, another 30, 40 years. Real problem. But my kid is going to feel it, and my kids' kids are going to feel it, and I don't want them to feel it. You know, we really need to understand and educate ourselves on what's happening out there. Okay? They want useful idiots. They don't want independent thought, hardworking individuals that will put their lives on the line for God, country, and family. They don't want those people. And we're a dying breed, it seems like. So let's do it. Spread the word. Get people educated. It matters. It really, truly matters. Greatest country ever founded, being conquered from within. Absolute shame. Absolute shame. We need to get this under control. We're fighting on every front. Right, we got big corporations we're fighting. The Islamification of America is happening. The Bibi Jews are happening. Like, we are fighting every which way, and it's exhausting. But if we don't fight, we're gonna lose. And if we don't lose, what is it gonna look like? What is it gonna look like in 3, 5, 10 years? Look what they were able to do under Biden's administration to you. Just look what they were able to do. My body, my choice. No. Get the vax. Get the vax or you're fired. Get the vax or you lose your job. Get the vax or lose, right? Oh, canceled off social media. You don't think that's going to come back 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 times harder? With the Islamification of America? You're crazy. You're crazy. You need to wake up. You need to understand how communists work. They use their useful idiots. Then once they get in power, they kill their useful idiots. Trans, useful idiots. Muslims, useful idiots. The Muslims are actually using the gay community and the trans community. It's quite fascinating to watch. It's quite fascinating to watch. But, yeah, and Texas needs to wake up too, by the way. I don't know what the hell's going on down there. I think it was Irving, Texas, I saw a video of. I don't know, about 300-400 Muslim men just pounding their chest open. And yeah, that's normal in America. Yeah, okay, that's normal in Texas. It's going to be real soon, though. Like, it's not a joke. It's going to be normal. It's going to be normal. All right, let's pray it out. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Lord, thank you for another day. Thank you for a beautiful day. Thank you for a great conversation today with Tevi. That really was unexpected. Thank you, Lord, for that. Absolutely amazing that him and me literally 15 minutes apart in Queens. Just amazing way to make a connection through Joe today. Thank you, Lord. Dear Lord, please open up our politicians' hearts to do what's right for the American people. Lord, please give us the patience to allow the patience and grace to allow our politicians to make the right decisions. Dear Lord, please look over our families. Please look over Dave Bear. Please look over Tina Peters. We need you more than we need you now more than ever, Lord. Feels like we're being tested at every turn, fighting a battle every day. Lord, please just keep giving us the resilience and the good grace to push forward. And remember that this is part of your big plan of where you want us to go. You never give anyone more than they can handle. I believe that. I truly believe that. So, Lord, those that have much on their plate, please give them the will and strength to make the right decisions to guide us through this tumultuous times. Please, Lord, save this country from devastation. Please, Lord, I want to leave a country to my kid that I know we have and that we can still have. Lord, thank you for the time with my family. Please continue to look over our families. And Lord, thank you for my son, Colton. He's the greatest gift of all. Thank you so much for him. Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, hope all is well. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. All right, Untamed Nation, maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe I'll be behind the scenes. I don't know. We'll see. See you tomorrow. Good night, everyone.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave